wind howled through the trees, carrying with it the chill of the coming winter. The town of Larkswood lay nestled against the edge of a dark, dense forest, its cobblestone streets winding through quaint cottages and small shops, their windows dimly lit by the glow of flickering candles. At the heart of this village stood an old, forgotten shop, its windows dusty and cracked, its wooden sign swaying gently in the breeze, barely readable. The sign read, "The Lantern of Lost Wishes." It had been many years since anyone visited the shop, and most of the villagers had forgotten its existence. But on this particular evening, a young woman named Isla, weary from her journey and searching for something, anything, to help her make sense of her life, stood before its door. She had heard whispers of a mysterious lantern, one that could grant wishes, but only to those who had lost their way. The idea of a wish that could help her find the direction she desperately needed tugged at her heart, and she found herself standing at the entrance, unsure but hopeful. With a hesitant breath, she pushed the door open. A bell chimed softly above her head as she entered the dimly lit shop. The air inside was thick with dust, and the smell of old wood and forgotten things filled her senses. Shelves lined with oddities and trinkets from other times and places stretched as far as her eyes could see. But in the farthest corner, under a heavy velvet curtain, Isla noticed something that shimmered faintly in the shadows. She approached the curtain, her footsteps echoing in the silence. With a trembling hand, she pulled it aside and gasped. There, on a pedestal bathed in a soft golden light, stood a lantern. It was unlike any she had ever seen. Crafted from silver with intricate designs etched into its surface, its glass glowing with a warm, inviting light. It was beautiful, almost magical, as though it had a life of its own. A voice, old and soft like the rustle of ancient pages, interrupted her thoughts. "You found it, haven't you?" The voice seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. Isla turned, startled, but saw no one. The voice spoke again. "The Lantern of Lost Wishes. It has been waiting for someone like you." Illa's heart pounded in her chest. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. From the shadows emerged a figure, a man dressed in tattered robes, his face hidden beneath the hood. His voice, though kind, carried the weight of years gone by. "I am the keeper of the lantern," he said. "And you, Isla, are here because you have a wish, one that has been buried deep within you, a wish that you thought lost, a desire that you have forgotten." Isla stepped closer, her eyes fixed on the lantern. "How do you know my name, and what is this wish?" The keeper sighed, his gaze heavy with an ancient sorrow. "We all carry wishes with us, Isla. Some are forgotten, pushed aside by the demands of life. Others are lost, carried away by the winds of time. But this lantern, this is a place where lost wishes are held. All it takes is the courage to remember." Isla hesitated. She had spent so long trying to ignore her dreams, suppressing the hope that had once burned so brightly in her heart. Her life had become a series of mundane routines, each day blending into the next with no real purpose, no direction. Once, she had dreamed of adventure, of traveling the world, of making a difference. But those dreams had faded with time, buried beneath the weight of reality. The keeper's voice cut through her thoughts. "This lantern can guide you, Isla, but it can only show you what you are willing to seek. What is it that you have lost?" Tears welled in her eyes as she stood before the lantern. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to ask the question that had haunted her for so long. "I don't know what I've lost," she whispered. "I've forgotten who I was meant to be." The keeper nodded, his expression gentle. "Then it's time to remember." With that, he reached out and touched the lantern. The light from within flared, growing brighter and brighter until it consumed everything. Isla gasped as the world around her began to shift, the walls of the shop fading into mist, replaced by an open field beneath a vast, star-filled sky. She turned in awe, watching as a path appeared before her, winding into the distance. "This is your journey, Isla," the keeper said. "Each step you take will reveal a piece of what you have forgotten. Follow the path, and you will find the lost wishes that reside within your heart." Isla hesitated, her mind racing. But with a deep breath, she stepped forward. The path beneath her feet was soft and inviting, as if the very earth welcomed her home. The air around her thrummed with possibility, and the stars above shimmered like tiny beacons of hope. Then, ahead of her, something took shape, a vision, clear and vivid. A young girl ran through a field of wildflowers, her laughter ringing through the air. She couldn't have been older than Isla had been when she first dreamed of adventure. Arms outstretched, face beaming with unfiltered joy, she twirled beneath the open sky. Isla watched in quiet awe as the girl turned to face her. And in that moment, recognition struck her like a bolt of lightning. "This was you once," the keeper's voice echoed from the void. "This is the wish you had, to live fully, to embrace the freedom of your youth." Tears welled in Ila's eyes. She had once been this girl, fearless, free, filled with boundless dreams. But time had pressed its weight upon her, dimming the light she once carried. Now, standing here, she understood. She had not truly lost her dreams. She had simply forgotten them. She pressed forward, her heart pounding with something unfamiliar, something that felt like hope. More figures emerged along the path. A young woman stood before a canvas, a paintbrush in hand, swirling colors into existence. Her eyes burned with passion, her soul speaking through every stroke. Further along, a man sat hunched over a book, his fingers tracing the words he had once longed to write, his expression alight with inspiration. And beneath a towering oak, a couple sat in the quiet glow of dusk, their hands intertwined, lost in the simple, unspoken language of love. Each vision was a fragment of her, a piece of the wishes she had buried beneath the noise of life. The artist, the writer, the lover of life. And for the first time in years, Isla felt something stir within her. She remembered. With each step, the path grew clearer, the visions more vivid. Isla felt a stirring in her heart, a spark of the woman she had once been, the woman she could still become. The path was leading her back to herself, to the person she had always been but had forgotten. And then, at the end of the path, stood a door. Old and worn, yet sturdy and strong, it beckoned her forward. With a deep breath, she reached out and pushed it open. A rush of cool air met her as she stepped through, and suddenly she was back in the shop. The lantern sat before her, its glow now dim, its warmth still lingering like a gentle whisper. The keeper stood nearby, watching her with a knowing smile. "You have found what you lost," he said. "The lantern does not grant wishes. It helps you remember the wishes you've buried. It helps you see the path that was always there." Isla stood in silence, the weight of the world lifting from her shoulders. She understood now. The life she had forgotten wasn't lost. It had simply been hidden beneath the noise of everyday existence. Her dreams were not gone. They had been waiting for her to remember. A newfound lightness filled her as she stepped outside into the cool night air. The village stretched before her, bathed in silver moonlight. The same streets, the same buildings, yet everything felt different. She felt different. As she walked, her heart beat with quiet certainty. The path ahead was hers to choose, hers to create. And this time she would follow it, not with fear, not with doubt, but with courage, with hope. For her wishes, her true desires had never been lost. They had always been inside her, waiting to be found. And so, Isla's journey began anew, her heart full of dreams once forgotten, now remembered. Sometimes we lose our way and forget the things we once held dear. But those dreams and desires are never truly gone. They simply wait for us to remember. By embracing who we are and rediscovering the wishes buried deep within, we find our true path. The lantern, with its quiet flickering glow, reminds us that the most important wishes are the ones we have carried inside us all along.